Good evening, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners Board meeting for Tuesday, January 28, 2020. We'll start with introductions. I'm John Hutchings. To my left is
Gary Edwards.
Ty Menser.
Bob Bonita Beaumont.
Bob Bonita is the clerk of the board, and over here we have our county manager, Ramiro Chavez. Thank you.
Robin Campbell, Assistant County Manager.
Elizabeth Petridge, Deputy Vice President.
So thank you all, and we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Chair Commissioner Menser. Please stand. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now I look for an approval of the agenda for this evening.
Move to approve agenda for Tuesday, January 28th, 2020.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve tonight's agenda. Are there any changes or amendments?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. Thank you. And the board meeting minutes from January 14, 2020.
Move to approve board meeting minutes from January 14th, 2020.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the board meeting minutes from January 14, 2020. Any changes or corrections?
No, sir.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. And now we are moving to presentations, and the first one is regarding African American history.
Thank you, Commissioners. I would like to ask to come to the podium Dr. Thelma Jackson, Ms. Alice Strummer, and Bobby Keys. They will be in front of the board receiving the proclamation. Please.
Perfect. Thank you.
Honorable Commissioners, thank you so much for allowing us to join you this evening to receive this proclamation on African American History Month on behalf of the African American community of Thurston County. The month of February is traditionally, we've called it in the past, Black History Month, which evolved from Black Negro History Week. So it has evolved now into African American History Month. And the proclamation that you are providing for us tonight speaks about your thought process and your commitments to the fact that in the growth and changes happening in Thurston County, we realize a tremendous increase in the numbers of African American citizens who reside here. So while African American History Month being a national observance, and most people are quite familiar with national kinds of Black achievements, the attention focused on state and local and community. And Thurston County has a rich African American history of its own. And so the activities that will be going on during the month of February in a number of places by a number of organizations and individuals will strive to bring attention to those things. The contributions, the kind of participation and involvement and engagement that African Americans have made to this country for an awful long time. The month of the year of 2019 that we just completed marked the 400th year commemoration of the first kidnapped Africans brought to this land. And legalized slavery lasted for 250 years. And as we continue to move forward as a country, as a people, we try to take time to look back on how those contributions have contributed to where we are. And Thurston County is pivotal in our lives, and we make up a significant part of the Thurston County community. So we deeply appreciate the fact that you, the commissioners, see fit to take time to provide a proclamation in recognition of African American History Week during the month of February. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Thelma. Any other comments? Okay. Do you have a comment?
Glad to be here, and I'm glad I could participate in this. So, thank you very much.
Comments?
Thank you.
Tell me, you mentioned other events for February. Are there any things that you could call our attention to?
Well, I can speak specifically to an event taking place by a group of Black state employees that's happening in February out at the Labor and Industries Auditorium. And for the month of February, for each Sunday out at New Life Baptist Church, there will be a portion of our service dedicated to some aspect of African American History Month in various things. Some of it will focus on national Black history, and then specifically some Sunday local Black history. And so we're still gathering dates and activities to know what else is going on, trying to coordinate and orchestrate, working in conjunction with the Olympia Historical Society, the Olympia Heritage Commission, an event coming up on Saturday, February 22nd, with a talk about local Black history. So the calendar is developing, and you can look forward to having a better idea of the things that's happening in different places and sponsored by different groups.
Thank you. Please add us to your mailing list for that. Ready for proclamation?
In a moment.
Not quite.
Once you hear what is in the proclamation, it makes perfect sense. But what really stands out to me of all the things that are important to celebrate is two things close to my heart, and that's culture and the arts. And that includes food, it involves traditions, and it involves music. And I think it's so cool. It's really cool. It's enriched all of our lives. So thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. African American History Month. Whereas during African American History Month, the many achievements and contributions made by African Americans to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development are celebrated. And whereas in 1976, Black History Month was formally adopted to honor and affirm the importance of African Americans in our country's history, advance the cause of civil rights, and strengthen families, communities, and the nation. And whereas in 1915, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, a noted scholar and son of former slaves, founded the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, and initiated Negro History Week in 1926. And whereas the first kidnapped Africans were brought to this country 400 years ago, beginning legalized slavery that lasted for 250 years until emancipation in 1863. And whereas through determination, hard work, and perseverance against all odds, African Americans have made valuable and lasting contributions to our county, achieving exceptional success in all aspects of society, including business, education, politics, science, the military, sports, and the arts. And whereas the Association for the Study of African American Life and History 2020 theme, African Americans in the Vote, emphasizes the significance of participation of African Americans in the electoral process at all levels of society. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Thurston County Commissioners hereby proclaim February as African American History Month in Thurston County and urge all citizens to recognize the continued need to battle racism and to build a more just, peaceful, and prosperous society for all. Adopted this 28th day of January 2020, Thurston County Board of County Commissioners.
Now we come on up to the front. Come on up. Please come up.
Oh, right.
One, two, three. All right, let's get one more. All right, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good to see you again. Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you.
It's always good. Next is it on? Yep, there we go. A presentation from the prosecuting attorney, John Thunheim.
Good evening, Commissioners. Let me turn this mic up a little bit. It won't take too long, and I don't have anything nearly as inspirational as the proclamation that you just signed, and I'm glad I was here to witness that event. But I do have something here that's perhaps a little bit different. Generally, I think when your other elected officials come before you, it seems like we're asking you for money, and tonight I'm here to give you some money. So there's a little bit of a different twist on it. But just for the audience's sake and for those watching at home, I just want to give a very brief background of why I'm here to present this and why I wanted to do it publicly, because I do think this is an example of a good perseverance towards dealing with our county funds. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, the county was sued in a fairly significant way in the operation of the county, what was then the county landfill, by a number of residents who lived in and around the area. That litigation went on for several years, and during a portion of the time alleged in that lawsuit, the county was insured by a corporation called Reliance Insurance Company. Eventually, that litigation was settled for several $million, and a portion of that liability would have normally been indemnified by Reliance Insurance, our insurance carrier, for a period of that time. However, Reliance Insurance, shortly afterwards, filed bankruptcy and was unwilling at that time to pay the claim that the county had in terms of our insurance that we had diligently paid for and were owed. At the time, interestingly enough, there was much discussion within the county government about whether it was worth it for the county to pursue this claim, given that this huge insurance company was now going into bankruptcy and that we were one of many, many, many claimants, if you can imagine. And I'm going to give some credit here to my predecessor, Ed Holm, who was the prosecuting attorney at the time, who felt very strongly that we paid for this insurance. It was coverage that was important, and it was the amount owed to us was in the area of about $750,000. And so decided to continue to pursue that claim, partnered with a law firm that specialized in bankruptcy law, and we went to work on the litigation. And so this has been in the works now for many years. It's been working its way through the bankruptcy court. But I'm pleased to say again that ultimately 100% of our claim was accepted by the bankruptcy court, and a payment schedule was determined. And so over the years now, we have been receiving payments as distributions were made from the trust fund that was set up with the Reliance account. And so tonight I'm here to actually present the last of the payments. So this closes out our claim. As I indicated, our recovery is just a little over $750,000 when you total it up over the several years. The particular check is for $62,000. And I just want to kind of come back and say that I need to really give credit to Ed Holm, who was determined, and rightfully so, to act in first. So I'm going to turn this to the manager as the financial officer, so that it goes right to the bank, which I'm sure it will. Right? Okay?
It's not a check this size?
I just couldn't get it done that quickly, right? And we wanted to get this in the bank like as soon as possible. So This is $62,000 is the amount of the check, all right? And so that's all I wanted to do tonight. I just wanted to do it in a way so that the citizens know that we followed through on this and we were able to recover this claim, and the county is better off for it, I guess. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. That's good news. Next is the Thurston County Public Defense presentation by appointed Director Patrick O'Connor. Bring your check right up, please, sir.
Good evening, Commissioners. As Mr. Thunheim just indicated, I fall into that other category where I'm not here to present the Commission with a check. For the public's information, my name is Patrick O'Connor. I'm the Director of Thurston County Public Defense. I was invited here tonight to give a brief overview of what we do for county government for the citizens of Thurston County. Thurston County Public Defense provides public defense indigent services, specifically providing legal representations for individuals in our criminal justice system, primarily that can't afford counsel, which unfortunately is the vast majority of those individuals. We employ 39 FTEs in our department, 21 attorneys, paralegals, legal assistants, administrative staff, and an investigator to do our work. I'm very proud of the individuals that we have working in our department and for this county. They are dedicated professionals, dedicated to our mission, I should say, and that mission is to defend and protect the constitutional rights of our clients, one person at a time. We represent individuals in adult superior court, juvenile court. We just started representing individuals in voluntary treatment hearings, which I'm very proud of. We also represent individuals going through dependency proceedings, which are parental terminations. So we represent individuals from all over this community, from all walks of life, and it's something that we're very proud to do. We're very proud to have the support of the commissioners in the work that we do. Washington State is unique in public defense. We have standards of public defense in Washington that provide not just the right to an attorney, but the right to a full defense. That includes investigations, experts, so each individual that we represent in this county has those services available. In addition to the services that we provide, philosophically, we provide client-centered public defense, which is a philosophy of meeting our clients where they are, no matter where they are in their life. And they may be suffering from mental health issues, substance use disorder, things like that. We also try to address those root causes of why they may be in the criminal justice system. We continue to take innovative justice steps to try to improve our community through criminal justice. I work along with the prosecuting attorney on various projects and initiatives to try to make this the best possible county we can. We believe in public safety. My lawyers believe in that too, and we practice that every day. So just a little overview of who we are, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I invite the public, if they have any questions at any time, to please stop by my department. You can email me, you can find me all over the place, but you can go to the Thurston County Public Defense website and send me an email. Great.
Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you.
You bet.
Any questions or comments of Pat?
No, Pat knows I spent a good portion of my career as a public defender, and I've said this before, but it wasn't because it was the only place that would hire me or anything like that. It was because I so much wanted to be part of that and what you do, and standing up for folks that have no other defense, sort of making the playing field level is how justice gets done. And so I have a lot of respect for your team, and thank you for your work.
You bet.
I would like to add, you use the term indigent defense, and that's the legal buzzword, it's the legal term that's used, indigent defense, but I prefer to think of it as justice for all. And there are movies out. You and I spoke of one that's on demand now.
We did.
And but there's a new one out now, and these are true stories. And this one's called Just Mercy.
Correct.
And I just saw the trailer for it, and holy smoke, that looks good.
Yeah.
So thank you for the work that you do, Pat.
You bet.
Appreciate that.
You bet. We're happy to serve this community and look forward to you doing it for a long time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I look forward to the state giving us some more money for justice for everybody.
Indeed.
Thank you, sir. Next is Thurston County Pretrial Services presentation. Mary Ann Clear, the director. Good evening, Marianne.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and the invitation to give a presentation on what exactly pretrial services is. I too, as Patrick, welcome any questions from anyone. You can also find my contact information on our pretrial services website. It's also my email address, marianneclear@thurstoncounty.wa.us. Pretrial services is the smallest county department. It's 6 individuals, and I have about a $800,000 budget. It's made up of general fund money and treatment sales tax. And we have 3 different units. We have a screening unit, a supervision unit, and a diversion unit. That's new as of last year. I have a pretrial services governing board. I have 7 bosses, so that has the county manager, Prosecutor Thunheim, Director O'Connor. I also have Superior Court judges and District Court judge, Director of Public Health and Social Services, Shelley Slaughter, and the sheriff. So we all work very collaboratively to have our pretrial services serve the community very well. The individuals that we serve are people who are arrested in our county and are scheduled to appear in Superior Court. We don't quite serve District Court at this point in time, but we are looking at ways that we can expand to do that. Those individuals in Superior Court are about 90% of the individuals in our jail at this point in time. Our screening unit, the reason that it's important for us to go into the jail and provide screening for individuals, and last year we did over 3,500 reports for those appearing in Superior Court on their preliminary hearing calendar. But we are a neutral department, so we don't work for defense and we don't work for prosecution, but we're neutral. So we're providing information to the court, prosecution, and defense counsel that is not a party to the case. Our interviews consist of a risk assessment as well as any address information, criminal history information, employment information, and we put all that together and make a recommendation regarding release. So any conditions of release that the court could do. And that's important to provide that information because it's used by both parties in their arguments to the court. Our supervision unit only supervises cases that are court-ordered for supervision. So at that preliminary hearing, the court may order someone to supervision, and that can be in lieu of bail, or in lesser bail. And when we supervise an individual, they are to report to our office in person within a day of their release. We text them reminders. Our goal for supervision is to help make sure that they make their court appearances and to not get new criminal charges in the community. So our goal is to get them through their process as quickly as possible and efficiently. And we make sure that the parties know what's going on with their case. Our diversion unit is new, and that is something that we were able to establish in collaboration with prosecution and defense. That is a outcome or resolution to their case for individuals that have mental health or substance use disorders. And the makeup of individuals who are referred to that program are of a typical makeup with our community. For example, we have a large Caucasian group in our community. I think in the 2017 census it was 64% of our community, and it's about 75% of the referrals to that program. So we do track that information for the program just to make sure that it is representative. It's a newer program. We just started getting referrals in August, and looking at the types of cases, they're lower risk cases, but higher needs. So we do a needs assessment, and that is in over half of the cases done the same day of referral, so that if they're in custody, we can get a resolution quickly. And of note for our pretrial services and our criminal justice system in general, Thurston County is one of 5 individuals or 5 jurisdictions selected nationally to participate as a research action site. Arnold Ventures had put out a grant solicitation, and we were selected to participate in their 5-year project. We are working with the researchers and technical assistance providers to review our pretrial process, and we'll be looking at implementing a risk assessment tool it's currently being validated for our community, and it's an exciting collaborative opportunity for all of our stakeholders and our community. I welcome any questions.
Anything?
No, but I want to thank you for helping keep our community safe, because you make sure that those that need to be in jail are kept in jail, and those that are lower risk to the community are then released, and that keeps our costs down. And that's kind of what I'm all about, is budget, changing hats from the law enforcement end of things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments?
Marianne, you mentioned the kind of focus on low risk, high needs. Do you have sufficient staff to supervise the number that meet that criteria, or have you tweaked the criteria to sort of fit what your capacity is? Does that make sense?
With respect to the diversion program, that was when I made that comment. We just started accepting referrals at the end of August, and that program is almost at capacity. So, and so I would say no. At this point in time, I have enough to do what I'm doing, but we're looking at waitlisting for people referred to that program.
So there's going to be more referrals than staff at a certain point.
Yes, and with respect to pretrial officers, on the slide where I said we did over 3,500 screening reports, the Pretrial Justice Institute did a staffing analysis, and their recommendation was for pretrial service agencies and departments doing 1,598 screening reports to have a staff of 4, and my staff of 4 did 3,544. And with supervising offenders in the community or justice-involved individuals in the community, not everyone has convictions as well, so I shouldn't call them offenders. So I catch myself in that. It's important to make sure that there's a balance with the caseload and doing the reports.
Most likely, if the person is not, the most likely the alternative is that person is incarcerated.
Yes. One of the benefits of having pretrial services, because not every jurisdiction has pretrial services, is the judicial officer has the option of having an individual released to supervision as opposed to being incarcerated. And I believe our jail bed days are over $120 per individual per day. And so then instead of having them stay in custody, they can be released to supervision, or they can have a lower bail amount.
That was my next question. Thank you.
Yes.
You have a pretty tough job. I'll give you that, Bob. But are you aware of any moving true stories about pretrial services? Movies?
No,
okay.
there's no movies, but I do have very dedicated staff.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know,
you do.
I have 3 of my 4 pretrial officers. 3 of them have worked for the county for more than 25 years.
Oh, good grief.
They enjoy what they do very much.
And you engendered a bit of sympathy from me when you said you have 7 bosses. And so I realized I have about 290,000 bosses, and many will hear from me tonight, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we're moving to Public Health and Social Services, and our Homeless and Affordable Housing Coordinator, Keely Marino, is here. along with Tom Webster, our program manager. And please come on up, talk about the Homeless Crisis Response System overview.
Good evening. I'm Tom Webster
evening.
with Program Manager for the Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention. And Keely Marino is going to do the bulk of the presentation, but I just wanted to share a few thoughts to keep in mind while you're listening to our presentation. First, as we know, homelessness is a regional issue, and our office is working to implement a regional response to this issue. And when we use the term regional, we're mostly talking about Thurston County and working with and across jurisdictions throughout the county. The federal, state, local revenue we collect and distribute is based on, in part, from economic activity that occurs throughout the county, and on the demographic information of the entire county. Funding recommendations are made by elected officials representing all jurisdictions in the county. And most importantly, people experiencing homelessness exist throughout all corners of our county, and no community can claim to be free of its challenges or responsibility. However, regional also has a broader context to include Western Washington, even the entire West Coast. Although Washington State saw a slight decrease in homelessness from 2018 to 2019, according to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the West Coast states of California, Oregon, and Washington all have rates of homelessness per 10,000 people that are significantly higher than the national average. Thurston County is not in a unique situation, and we are consistently communicating and sharing information and lessons learned with other jurisdictions on how to reduce homelessness. Second, I would encourage all of us not to lose sight of the individual successes that do occur in our community. In 2019, our Homeless Crisis Response System served 2,345 unique individuals, or 1,886 households. Each of those individuals or households represent members of our community that are a little safer and are in a more stable situation than they would be without our services. While our system cannot always keep up with the influx of people entering homelessness, and we are continually working to improve our systems, we know they are critical resources of last resort for many of our neighbors. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Keely.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Good evening. It's lovely to see you in the evening hours. My name is Keely Marino. I'm the Homeless Prevention and Affordable Housing Coordinator. As you know, I'm going to do a brief overview of what is a homeless crisis response system, what does that constitute, and then what does it look like in Thurston County, and what regional response what does regional response look like in our county, and what are some of the activities that we've done regionally so far. So a homeless crisis response system, the key elements to a homeless crisis response system must include these elements: preventing people from falling into homelessness in the first place, outreach to those individuals who are at risk of experiencing homelessness or to those who are already experiencing homelessness, a coordinated entry system, which is a requirement from the Housing and Urban Development, from the federal level, that each local community have an equitable access and assessment for folks to get into services quickly. Diversion out of the system, hopefully, through some clever and empowered problem-solving skills. Then we have emergency shelters, transitional housing, primarily for youth, rapid rehousing, so some rental assistance to get people into affordable housing and support them for a number of months to keep them stabilized, and then permanent affordable housing or permanent supportive housing. So all of these elements are what constitute an effective homeless crisis response system. In Thurston County, this is what our system kind of looks like right now, the health of our system. I'm looking forward to updating this slide as we just completed the point in time count for 2020. But at this time, when we created this slide, this is a snapshot both of what is happening currently in our county and also how our system works. As you can see, that yellow circle, the 357 nightly beds in Olympia, is centered right there, smack dab in the middle, as all of our homeless emergency shelters. So those 357 nightly beds exist only in Olympia. During the cold weather months, St. Mike's and Sacred Heart team up to provide up to 16 beds for homeless individuals who are single men, but that's just for 6 months out of the year and only on the weekends. So all that element of our homeless crisis response system lives only in Olympia. In fact, I would say 95% of our system in terms of services exists in Olympia. So this, but as you can see there, what we have are 357 nightly beds. We have a number of housing units that are listed on the bottom. Those are 2018 numbers, and approximately 800 to 1,000 unsheltered individuals. That's an estimate. Yet the beds are usually about 90 to 100% full in our emergency shelters, and the rate of people moving into any of our housing projects is at a 2% per quarter. So we have quite a bottleneck both in people getting into shelter or getting into housing of any stripe. So this is a kind of a busy slide, but it's an attempt to show kind of what our current system looks like and what we want our ideal system to look like. So on the left, the current system, we have a very small amount of prevention. We have a very small amount of prevention dollars going out to prevent people from falling into homelessness in the first place. We have a large unsheltered population. We have a pretty broad emergency response at this time and ever expanding emergency response. And then a really sliver of an access point to permanent housing. And on the other side, we have an ideal system. We want to grow our prevention creatively. We want to reduce the number of individuals who are unsheltered. We want to decrease our emergency response, understanding that we're always going to need some kind of a response for folks that are finding themselves homeless. And then we want to absolutely grow our affordable housing stock and access to permanent supportive housing. So I wanted to give an example of one of the ways that we have, as a county, very successfully implemented a regional response. In 2017, spearheaded by Thurston County, we created the Hazardous Weather Task Force. This is a slide that can show you all of the jurisdictional partners that were involved in that process. Citizens, nonprofits, we have Intercity Transit, Providence Community Care Center, the library, and then individuals that may be represented here in this office, or in this meeting. So a large, broad expanse of people supporting this effort to keep people who are really cold during cold weather taking them in from outside and hopefully getting them into shelter. If we can't get them directly into shelter, then providing them with emergency survival gear to just stay alive outside. So the reason why this really works, in my opinion, is that it's a galvanizing issue. It has buy-in from multiple stakeholders. Everybody can see the weather, everybody experiences the weather. Nobody likes to be cold, nobody likes wet feet. And when it's snowing outside, all of us, I would hazard, would say, I'm so grateful for the fact that I have a home, and I'm worried about the people who do not. So this galvanizing problem that really brought in stakeholders from across the county that were committed to finding a way to ensuring that we could house our most vulnerable citizens in some kind of shelter situation during our coldest winter months. There are also regular meetings annually with immediate actionable items, and that is, I think, a telltale sign of a really excellent functional regional response. A response that we have, Tom mentioned earlier, the Health and Human Services Council, or the HHSC, is a regional funding response that began in 1989. The HHSC has been charged with making funding recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners since that time. And with 6 total funding sources at the federal, state, and local level, it totals approximately $6.5 million annually, are awarded and decided by the HHSC. Well, in 2018, there was kind of a spin-off of the Urban Cities Ad Hoc Committee that formed to focus on what are the housing resources in our county. They met for a year, they did a lot of study, and they got together and created kind of a resource guide. But in July 2019, with the ever-growing and very visible unsheltered population in our county, Thurston County joined that ad hoc committee, and what is now referred to the Regional Housing Council was formed. The purpose stated initially for the Regional Housing Council was an immediate response to unsheltered homelessness. The intent was to come up with a response as a region to get folks inside before November 1. So as most people are aware, there is an emergency response that's been supported in downtown Olympia. They call it the mitigation site. There was an intent to find something that would not necessarily be that, but be something that would be regional, that would be transitional, that would be supportive, that we could all come together and fund and figure out operations. We identified a potential location, which was actually down the road at Carpenter Road and Martin Way. And we developed a technical team, of which I was delighted to lead, to develop a budget, a staffing model, an operation model for that site. What would it look like? So in a matter of just 3 months, we were able to come up with a base number of funding that we could potentially add to a site such as this, and created basically a whole structure for what could be built there. However, due to really high infrastructure costs and the impeding weather coming our way for the cold weather season, we set aside that property for now, but wanted to continue talking about how do we move forward as a regional housing council. We want everybody's coming to the table in good faith. There's at least one elected official from every jurisdiction, key staff members that sit around the table to discuss response to homelessness and affordable housing. So at this point, in December, we were able to have a 4-hour retreat, and it was facilitated by Thurston Regional Planning Commission. We've created a draft vision and mission for the Regional Housing Council. We've identified areas of focus that we would all like to focus on. We're developing a draft interlocal agreement because, of course, we need an interlocal agreement in order to move forward. And then at this time, any actual project is on hold, but we're developing some strategies for how we can address some of those identified areas of focus. So again, a really exciting effort where for now 7-8 months we've been coming together in good faith to address this really nuanced, complex need in our community. Any questions?
Commissioner?
No, sir.
None. Questions or comments?
I guess just a comment. I'm just wrapping up my first year. During the year I campaigned for commissioner in 2018, I heard a lot of citizens talking about the lack of sort of regional coordination on this. It seemed like jurisdictions were going in different directions. So I'm very heartened to see all this work that you've outlined and how we've got a forum now where we're working together and collaborating. The state has contributed some new tools, like what we call the 1406 dollars, that all the jurisdictions cooperated, and we're going to hopefully use that for a very productive project. And so I fully encourage and support all the work that you're doing on the RHC and our response, because there was a lot of call for the county to be involved. And so I think that we certainly are. And hiring you was huge. I mean, the work that you do, and you come every week and report to us about what's going on, and I think that's made, I feel like that's made a lot of trust, at least in my interaction with the different jurisdictions. Just your leadership is building trust, and that's good for us, so thank you.
Ditto. But I would add that if anybody is waiting for the government or thinks the government is going to solve this issue, they're should be sorely disappointed, because it's going to take the entire, many factions of the community to come together. We had this afternoon at our Board of Health special meeting, we had a public comment, and a registered nurse spoke about the water quality coming from the jungle, or lack of water quality, or the concern about water quality from the jungle. And I know that's being addressed, and the county is even working with Olympia to address some of the issues there in the jungle. But that brings to light sites that are not taken care of or managed. And so it's crucial that we look to do something like that to help in those regards. But I have a question to ask, and that's regarding, you said we have about 800 to 1,000 unsheltered people in Thurston County. Is unsheltered, does that include the people living in tents and cars and RVs?
That would be estimated people living in tents, RVs, and cars, yes.
That includes them?
Yes.
Because the school districts in Thurston County report upwards of about 1,500 youth that are homeless. And that's troubling. It's very concerning hearing that. And so they deserve our help as well. And anything we can do, or anything I can do to dispel the myth and prejudice or prejudging of the majority of these people, these folks, that it comes across that they're not worthy of our help, I'll do what I can to help you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Keely. Thank you, Tom. Now, that takes us to item number 1 on the agenda, and that is the opportunity for the public to address the board. We have a podium here, and we have La Bonita Bomar, the clerk of the board, that has a timer, and I'll get to that. But I'm going to go through some general guidelines to adhere to, I would hope. When you come to the podium, if you signed up, please introduce yourself, including your address of where you reside in the county. Please address the board and not the audience or staff. Please, if you haven't done so, silence your phones. That'd be helpful. And the board does not respond to public comment, and on an as-needed basis, the county manager will follow up with specific items. Speakers are limited to a total of 3 minutes, and La Bonita has the timer here. It starts off green and then goes to an amber and then red. Okay, so please watch the clock. And meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for a good cause. No comments, please, that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind, and no comments that are commercial in nature, such as a promotion for a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 42.56 of the RCW. And any remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before this board on appeal are not allowed either. So thank you for your cooperation. I have a sign-up list, or sheet here, and there's one in the back. And we'll go through this sheet. And if you haven't signed up but would like to testify, I will call you. I'll give you that opportunity regardless. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 people that signed up but did not check yes or no. Okay, they did not check yes or no as to whether they want to speak. So I'll just call out your name and ask you if you wish to come up and speak. Thank you. So I will call up the first person, and then the next person, I'll call that name so you're on deck and ready to go. The first one is Larry Levine, and Terry Ballard signed in, but you didn't check yes or no. Yes? Okay, thank you. Good evening, sir.
My name is Larry Levine, and I work for Forever Green Trails, a Pierce County-wide nonprofit trails organization. I do reside in Lakewood, but I've been used to live for 25 years in Thurston County, so near and dear to my heart. I want to thank you for addressing the Yelm Prairie Line Trail tonight with a potential resolution of support. For those folks who don't know, this is a project for a 5-mile-long rail trail that will connect the cities of Yelm in Thurston County and Roy in Pierce County. And the project is really important for economic and community development and enhancement, multimodal access, mobility options, and also for traffic safety. SR 507 is not particularly pleasant or safe roadway. And also for emergency preparedness for the area, because that is the only route in the area to get across the river, as well as tourism. This is could be potentially part of a cross-state trail, which, if developed, will bring lots of wallets on wheels to the area to help our rural communities. My organization has been helping to, and Thurston County's long been active in this project. I have been particularly active in levering Pierce County off the couch and to be a more active partner. And so we have helped the city of Roy land a $52,000 initial planning grant for the Pierce County section of the trail. We've also landed a National Park Service in-kind planning grant for this trail project as well. And there are other steps, and including gathering letters of support for the City of Yelm's Recreation and Conservation Office grant for their second phase of the trail to get across the river to Pierce County. So I just wanted to thank you for your attention to this project and this issue. It's just a fabulous project, not only for the residents of Yelm and Thurston County, but residents of Pierce County. And of course, those wallets on wheels, we just got to help those folks out. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Now's time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Terry Ballard, followed by Andrea. And out of respect, I won't try to mention or pronounce your last name. Does Andrea want to speak? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Terry Ballard. I'm a 35-year veteran, and I reside in Tanglewild, which is unincorporated Thurston County, and I also own property in Olympia. With the response of the Health Department and Olympia claiming an emergency for the homeless, and the Health and Human Services, Social Services being the only ones that to handle the homeless under the Home Consortium Fund, I'm just wondering when the revenue is going to be returned spent on the homeless in Olympia. Other than that, I won't waste my time in mentioning about a fictional fee, a septic fee, that encompasses about 800 people, 852, I believe, in Tanglewild. There is no more contamination going into Woodland Creek. Of course, the science is there. Everything's there to prove the point, to include the 3 wells that we use as drinking water, but you continue to do a septic fee on each one of the properties in Thurston County, in Tanglewild, and they're the only ones targeted. Of course, the money's being used for everybody in the septic tank, because the one fee that you wanted to charge everybody in Thurston County failed to vote of the council. Seattle's problem about homeless is our problem. They're dumping the RVs are dumping raw sewage into the storm drains. The only difference between Seattle and Thurston County is Thurston County pays a fee. Everybody pays a fee for the stormwater, and Seattle doesn't have a stormwater fee, so that gets dumped directly in, and that fee is just another cash cow because you don't use it to filter any water or filter anything out of for Thurston County, and so it's just a cash cow, probably used someplace else. This illegal sewage dump was on 22 October 2019. Sewage spills. When we have an abundance of water, of rainwater, the illicit sewer systems, meaning stormwater and sewage, has an abundance, especially on the plant that's down in a lot. It's illegal because the Olympia Municipal Code says it's illegal. Of course, in an abundance, we get raw sewage dumped in Butt Inlet for that. And a whale died, by the way, in Butt Inlet of 9 July 2019. Washington Department of Health closed for shellfish in 9 July 2019. There was a meeting that Mr. Edwards was at with me that discussed all about the other byproduct of of sewage treatment, which is sludge. Sludge is being used. All the heavy metals, everything that you have in sewage is being used for fertilizer. That's wrong. And biosludge is coming to your dinner table. All these are articles you can find online. Okay.
Thank you.
Ecology is being sued by an Oregon outfit for dumping, for an illegal permit for dumping. A lawsuit by the same is suing the EPA for cleanup of Deschutes River, Capel Lake, and Butt Inlet. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you. Next is Andrea, followed by Lisa. Gelati or Gelati? Okay, thank you. Andrea, thank you. So they can see it, yeah, we can both see it. Thank you. That's good.
I have a tricky German last name. It's Sehmel, S-E-H-M-E-L.
Oh, good, okay, thank you.
I live in a beautiful, sleepy little hamlet called South Bay, near 26th Avenue, which overlooks Woodard Creek, rather. We bought the property about 18 years ago and have raised our 2 boys there very happily and gratefully until the last couple of years when we too had biosludge coming to our dinner table. I am here tonight to talk about my concerns about the water quality, which is coming downstream to us from the jungle. We're about half a mile downstream from the jungle. And while I've had the water tested and it didn't show any bacteria at the time, that was a while ago, and I'm very concerned about the contents of the water, including bacteria and viruses that my family is exposed to, as well as hundreds of other families in the region. I'm a registered nurse, a nurse educator, and one of the things I teach my nursing students is to cuss. And there's a tool that I teach them. It's called Team Steps, and what it is tools for talking when stakes are high. And this tool is describing the mnemonic CUS, C-U-S. The first is to say that you're concerned. Thurston County Commissioners, I am concerned about the water quality in the South Bay Woodard Creek area. The second of the mnemonic is you. I'm uncomfortable. Thurston County Commissioners, I'm very uncomfortable with the quality of the water in the South Bay area, bordering on Woodard Creek due to the jungle effluent that's coming downstream, the biosludge that's coming downstream to my family. And the S stands for safety. This is a safety issue. This is becoming a public health emergency, and I expect you to act on it. I appreciate Mr. Chavez's response and Ms. Slaughter's response to me this afternoon when I spoke to the Department of Health. I appreciate you very much and the work you do, but I do respect a response, and promptly. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Lisa, followed by Paul Shorb.
I'm a little shorter. Lisa Gelati is my name, and I'm the founder and executive director for Build a Bus Home. And we have created a shower trailer program where we are bringing our shower trailer to the people to clean up, to help with hygiene, to help with disease prevention and health. And the other thing I want to mention to you is there is a documentary of a film that's being put together, and there's a 15-minute trailer, and it's on mobile loaves and fishes. You may have remembered me speaking about that a while ago. Mobile Loaves and Fishes is in Austin, Texas, and they created a community where it brings people that are experiencing homelessness on the streets of Austin and bringing them to a community, building homes. They have the owner calls it a RV park on steroids. They have a store, they have agriculture, they have many industries that the participants that live there work and contribute and give back and grow and learn to love. And they are called the Charter of Compassion is the one that put this out. You may remember about Charter Compassionate Cities. This is part of that. And I just wanted to let you know that this documentary is coming out. And there's a big worldwide Zoom call tomorrow about this, and they're bringing it to the world. They're educating about how you can do this in your communities. So I think this is a great response to homelessness. I know it's not an immediate response, but it is an overall very proven technical tool for homeless and people to live and grow from that. And I'm all about humanity and compassion and bringing our love for people to the people in the county. And I just want to encourage you to listen to that and also to support our ventures as we have come talk to you many times. And I'm just so excited to bring showers to the people who need them. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul, did you wish to speak? Thank you, sir.
This is Paul, who is my client. He wanted me to speak first. Is that okay?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay. Okay, first, I'm going to go ahead and hand these up here first. One copy for myself. Thank you.
So this is John Pettit for the record. Go ahead.
Yeah, for the record, this is John Pettit. I live in East Olympia off Rich Road. Today I'm coming to talk to you primarily about a couple different things, and just a quick summary. We don't actually have an election yet for the courthouse because we've never had a resolution to the auditor, and the auditor hasn't processed the ballot title. So we're clean on that. I even talked to the prosecutor over here. Secondly is I'm not going to be bringing you anything that is a issue related to something that you would be subject to reviewing. The only comment I'm going to take for the time for the election issue has to do with, I would think it would be really prudent to open this up and let people understand that the actual total amount of dollars that is being presumed at this point, plus increases, but the minimum we're looking at right now is $422,800,000 that would be collected because of the levy that would be generated by the courthouse proposition, as you would call it, a tax proposition. Okay, now the issue that's really important to me tonight. I have a gentleman here. He has a wonderful group that he's associated with, Faith Harvest Helpers, and they do a lot of wonderful work for the less fortunate in our community. The problems that we're having here has directly to do with CPED, the Community Development Group. Used to be called the Resistance Department. Now it's I would have a different term for it, and I would call it more of a, well, let's put it this way, the Money Collection Department. The papers that I've given to him over here, the reason why these people have been subject to so much difficulty in their process, and I brought this forward to the director, is because all along, this is an agritourism issue. Okay, they're in an agritourism overlay district. Along with agritourism also comes with a critical area ordinance that is for agriculture. The problem is everything they violated was under Title 24, the critical area ordinance, which is for residential. And so they have had their reputation impugned. They have been cited, they've been threatened, they've been directed to be paying thousands of dollars in permits that are not required when you apply it under the agritourism. In the couple papers here that they've spent, they've written checks for, hasn't finished up yet. One's for $4,400. One's for almost $2,000. You know, you have to call the right things correct. If planning is giving a wrong direction, they need to step up and correct their actions, free them up to finish their work that they paid all these permits. This is just two of them. Paid all these permits out for. They're entitled to their property rights. I'm going to ask you guys to take a good look at this and maybe talk to your director of CPAD and get this handled. Thank you.
And now, Paul, would you like to speak? Yes, sir. Come on up. And next after Paul is going to be C. Davis.
Hi, I'm Paul Shorb. We're out on Case Road, down near the Maytown area. We've been working on a 30-acre piece of property for almost 4 years, applying for permits, doing what we're supposed to do, as given guidance from the departments. We were given, and I'll use one very simple example. We were cited that we had a 3-car garage that was on the property when we bought it. It said it wasn't permitted. So we went in to get the permit for it. We found out that the 3-car garage has been around for over 20 years. They physically have seen it in the topographical maps. All we did was think we had to go in, pay the fee, get it on the paperwork and go. No, it's being held up. So part of the process that we're trying to learn here, and I don't know the county processes, which is why we have John here. We're trying to understand what's the right way to do it and how to do it. I can tell you your violations officer has been awesome. He's articulated everything we needed to do, and we've executed. We'd just like our permits freed up that have been on hold for 4 years, and we'd like the garage free, if you will. We can't sell the property. We can't do anything with the property. We bought it with a 3-car garage, and it's still there and has been there for 20 years, and we'd just like it to be permitted and let go. That's just one of 4. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. C. Davis, and then followed by Julie Holmquist.
I'm C. Davis. I'm from Olympia, and I'd like to start with saying R.L. Smith quoted, the environmentalist would rather see the environment destroyed under communism than to flourish under capitalism. So what I want to talk about is, in part, the jungle, which is a piece of land that has been blocked from development for 20 years because it's a sensitive wetlands. Yet, there are over 100 people living there illegally, dumping raw sewage into Woodard Creek, which is a salmon creek, and they are doing the exact things that the property owner is not allowed to do because it violates sensitive wetland standards. In Washington, we spend over $1 billion a year for salmon protection and recovery. Yet we're allowing absolute destruction of Woodard Creek, which is a salmon creek. We're also allowing similar damage in the Deschutes area, where we have more homeless encampments dumping raw sewage into Capitol Lake. We've recently wasted $13 million to clean up 600 gallons of oil that was spilled into Capitol Lake. Yet there is no regard for the raw sewage being poured into Capitol Lake. It's just being ignored. But that's just the problem. I think we have a solution here. And that solution has to do with the people living in both the jungle and along the west side of the Deschutes Parkway. 80% of them have criminal warrants out for them. So we actually have a place for them. It's called jail. Now, I understand that a lot of these criminal warrants are from out of the county, and the counties that these people are from are not eager to get them back. I wonder why. But with the amount of cost that they're costing the county and county taxpayers and the environmental destruction that they're doing, it would be a small price for the county, once identifying who has the warrants, to drive them back to their jurisdictions. Remove them from the county, remove them from where they do the most harm, both to the taxpayers, to the communities where they commit crime and use drugs, and to the environment. So we have a solution here. It's been tested other places. We know very accurately that, generally speaking, the homeless community, and I use that word loosely, has between a 60 to 80% criminal warrant rate. We've seen that in cities around the state, including Marysville. So, all we need to do is enforce the law, protect the people of the county, and protect the environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Julie Holmquist. Julie Holmquist is the last one to sign up, but I'll give anybody else an opportunity if you wish. Hi.
Good evening. I'm not going to go on and on and on, but I just wanted to make you guys aware of a serious safety concern that we have here in the county. We have people shooting in open waters on Black Lake. This is happening between November and January, and the laws governing the hunting going on Black Lake are outdated and unsafe. The lake is fully developed in an urban area with homes surrounding it, and these aren't cheap homes. So I just recently got my home there on the water at 7408 Lakeside Street. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. And,
yeah, don't be.
And it's been a long journey the last year, but within that year, I've captured on video at least 25 videos of these hunters trespassing, committing illegal acts. There's only 500 feet of shoreline for the Black River Refuge. To the left of that is private land. To the right is Evergreen Shores. They're trespassing on our dock and our shores at Evergreen Shores. The Homeowners Association is going to give me a letter of support, but that's not going to happen until the next meeting. Not only we don't feel safe. You've got people canoeing, fishing, jet skiing, boating, and shooting all in the same lake, and it just doesn't make any sense. Most people that I talk to are absolutely shocked that this is happening on Black Lake. They didn't realize that this was happening on Black Lake. And mainly it's the noise. The noise is unbelievable. I've had a professional photographer and videographer out there, and I have videos of the blast and the actual shot sound because my camera wasn't picking that up and my phone wasn't picking that up. It's unbelievably loud and disturbing. I've kept a gunshot log of every single time a gunshot has rung out in the last 3 months. It's excessive, and it just got worse and worse as I kind of poked the bee's nest a little bit. So they started coming out, and we as property owners, you know, the constant gunshot infringement is on our quiet enjoyment of our property. It's our right to have that. And this is just the beginning of a discussion that's going to go on for a very long time, so I don't want to waste too much of your time, and we don't have time to go over that. But I would hope that I could meet with you, one of you, hopefully Ty or someone, because he's in our, he's my district, to talk to you about this on a later note where I can go into a little bit more of an explanation about it, but also just for you guys to be aware of the issue that's going on there. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. And for the record, I didn't know that was going on. Now that exhausts the list of folks that have signed up. Is there anybody that would like to address the board tonight that has not spoken yet? Anyone? I got plenty of room to write your name. Anyone? All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. That takes us to agenda item number 2, the county manager's update.
Thank you, Commissioners. Can you hear me back here? Okay? No? No? So hopefully I can speak louder. If your microphone can go up. The volume, please. The volume? Yeah. So I just have a couple items for you. Follow up on a couple of letters that we had received from Mr. John Pettit. One is dated January 14th, and he followed up with a public testimony before you on January 21st. And I was asking a couple of questions related to the ballot measure that is going to be in front of the voters on April 28, 2020. Is that better?
There you go.
Is that better? Yeah. So related to the two questions that Mr. Pettit outlined in his letter on January 14th, I wrote a response letter this last Friday, January 24th, 2020, and I believe I have addressed those questions. He also submitted a letter yesterday, dated January 27, 2020, related on the same matter, the courthouse project, where he asked the commissioners to urging the commissioners to specify the ballot measure title statement with a specific and concise description of the measure. This particular item is scheduled for your consideration next Tuesday, February the 4th, during your regular Board of County Commissioners, and that was a step that needed to be taken before we submit this resolution to the county auditor to put it on the election for April 25th. That is related to the public testimony that we have received. I'd like just to circle back on that. And I'd like to give you a little report for those departments who are not represented tonight. And let me begin with Human Resources. Just to give you a snapshot of 2019, Human Resources conducted clinics where they dispense close to 231 flu shots to county employees. And that is a program that we have been implemented for the last 3 years and has been helpful to all county employees. Also, in 2019, we posted 276 job applications in the county. That is up from 200 in 2018. We also processed 189 new employees in the county in 2019. That's just a little bit down from 2018, which we had 198. We conducted training to county employees, 135 in 2019 versus 132 in 2018. We also have 34 retirements in 2018, also 34 retirements in 2018. Also, we hired 25 veterans in 2019. That's up from 20 in 2018. And a couple of highlights you heard from the Community Planning and Economic Development. In 2019, they hosted 15,900 individuals who came to the permit center, and that was just formal interactions in terms of asking questions about a specific permit. The result of that, they processed in 2019, they received 4,433 applications in related to specific projects. You heard from the Keely Murno on January 23rd. They conducted the point-in-time count for homeless census across the county. And we have continued to meet the demands of facilities, maintenance, and operations in central services. In December 2018, we changed the charging stations in the lot, and those serves for charging for electric vehicles that is accessible not just for employees but also to citizens who visit the courthouse. That's what I have for you.
Oh, thank you. Questions of the county manager?
No, sir.
Okay. Takes us to item number 3 on the agenda, consent items A through F.
I would move to approve consent items A through F.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve consent items A through F. Any discussion on those?
No, sir.
No. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Agenda item number 4, Public Works, contract award, Thurston County Public Works for fish passage enhancement. And we've got Steve Johnson. Good evening, Steve, civil engineer.
Good evening. I am Steve Johnson, senior civil engineer with Thurston County Public Works, and I'm here to recommend contract award for our steel bridge fabrication contract. But I wanted to add a little bit of context and some background on what this item is. This is relating to our fish passage program, which began in 2017 with initial funding. To date, we have replaced 6 fish passage barriers with passable structures. These are very complex engineering, design, and construction sites. They can be pretty expensive. I'm not going to go into any detail on that. However, Commissioner Menser actually hosted a discussion with us to discuss those exact issues. So if you're interested, there is a YouTube video of that discussion. But our current projects that we have completed have opened up more than 8.5 miles of previously blocked stream corridor and many acres of wetland habitat for fish rearing. This includes last year's Tobotten Creek project, which is in the current budget cycle. The Fish Passage Program has also been recognized in many ways, both locally, state, and nationally, as well as internationally. We have won several awards from a public works perspective from APWA, American Public Works Association, both state and national awards. We won an Environmental Stewardship Award from the International Conference on Ecology and Transportation, ICOET. And we also recently won the Silver Award for the National Impact from the ACEC, the American Council of Engineering Companies, which is from the consultant design engineering perspective. On top of that, we have been very successful in pursuing additional grant funding. We have secured $2.4 million in grants and support that is helping to leverage the funds that we have received from REIT to continue applying, and we continue applying for additional funding as opportunities arise. We do have several more projects scheduled for this year, on top of the one that we completed last year. Two of them, with all of the projects that we will be completing under this cycle, which also includes one completely grant-funded project which will be constructed in 2021, that will bring our barrier removal count to 11, opening up more than 15 miles of stream habitat and associated wetland for rearing. Two of the projects scheduled for construction this year will be replacing current barriers with bridges. One of the methods that we have used to help keep the costs of these projects as low as we can is to use prefabricated bridges, which we have found to be approximately half the cost of a typical site-built custom bridge. Of course, there are many variables that go into that. An added benefit with these prefabricated bridges is that we can order them ahead of time, which really shortens our schedule, our timing, and then we can deliver those bridges to our contractor when we put these out for installation. And this leads back into our agenda item for tonight. So we are requesting contract award for bridge fabrication. So on January 16th, 2020, the total of one bid was received to provide the steel bridge fabrication work for Thurston County Public Works Fish Passage Enhancement Program, and that's County Road Project 63006. This bid was received in response to the work being advertised in the Olympian and Seattle Daily Journal of Commerce and posted on Builders Exchange of Washington website. The lowest responsive bid was received from Contech Engineered Solutions, LLC of Westchester, Ohio, with a bid of $391.69. Fabrication costs will come from the real estate excise tax funds allocated for the Fish Passage Enhancement Program and will be supplemented by a grant of $80,000 that we received from the Water Resource Inventory Area Group for this basin. This contract provides for the manufacture and delivery of two bridges ahead of the construction contracts for their installation. These bridges will be used to replace current fish passage barriers located on Peisner Road Southeast, that's on Elbow Lake Creek, as well as on Jones Road Southwest, which is on Salmon Creek. These projects will be shepherded through the construction, through final design and construction by two of our engineers who are here tonight, Jesse King and Marcus Storvik. The delivery schedule for the order of these bridges will save at least 3 months of lead time, which allows for a much more streamlined construction schedule. Completion of these two projects will restore salmon access and habitat that has been unavailable for spawning and rearing since these roadways were originally built. These sites are 2 of 3 planned for construction this year, and their completion will allow salmon to access an additional 6 miles. Just these 3 sites will add 6 miles of habitat for this year's projects alone. The project is in the current budget, and in the Transportation Improvement Plan and the Capital Facilities Plan, and the project aligns with County Strategic Plan Initiative 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community. Do you have any questions?
Looking to you.
I don't have any questions because we've discussed this at several meetings leading up to tonight, and I want to thank you for your presentation and all the facts you've laid out there. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Steve, and I mean this with all due love and respect, but you and your folks at Public Works, you did not win any awards. There wasn't a lottery. You didn't buy a lucky ticket. You folks earned it. You earned each and every one of those awards, local, state, national, and international. And that from the association as well. And if anybody wants to see, on our website, the county website has on YouTube, it has the before and afters of these things. And I tell you what, it's awesome to see that. So thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
County manager.
I just learned yesterday Steve is moving on. His last day in the county is, I believe, the last day in February. He has taken a position with the County Road Administration Board.
I don't think so.
So I think over the years, from yourselves, and I can speak for myself, when I came as a public works director, I knew the caliber of a professional that you are. And I just want to say thank you for everything you have done, not just for Thurston County, the organization, but also thank you very much for everything you have done for the citizens of the county. Good luck.
Wow.
Thank you.
When is your last day?
February 28th.
The 20th, okay. Good grief. Change that number of your jobs, yeah. All right, is there a motion?
I move to award the contract to fabricate 2 steel bridges for the Thurston County Public Works Fish Passage Enhancement Program, CRP number 63006, to Contact Engineered Solutions, LLC of Westchester, Ohio, for a total amount of $262,391.69, and authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, up to 10% of the contract, which would be $26,239, or an aggregate of $288,630.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to award contract for Fish Passage Enhancement Program, CRP number 63007. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Steve, very much. Number 5 on the agenda, Emergency Services, approval of professional services contract. And we have Kurt Harden, our Emergency Services Director. No, we don't.
Maybe know it.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
I thought when I was later on the list, I wouldn't have a ringer in front of me, so it'll be a little bit dry and a little bit straightforward.
Start by introducing yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ben Miller-Todd. I'm the ALS Program Manager for Thurston County Medic 1. Medic 1 is requesting the Board of County Commissioners authorize the Emergency Services Director to execute the contract amendment for Olympia Emergency Services Professional for the Medical Program Director for the period of February 1st, 2020 through January 31st, 2022. This is the renewal of an existing contract. This contract has been approved by the County Auditor, Risk Manager, and Prosecuting Attorney's Office, as well as the Emergency Medical Services Council. Has recommended the approval of this contract. The MPD contract is part of the approved 2020 budget. Funding comes out of the Medic 1 fund and is an annual amount not to exceed $129,700. The actual amount is dependent on the total number of hours worked. Thurston County Medic 1 has a contract with OES to provide MPD services for the Thurston County Emergency Medical Services. The current contract is currently scheduled to expire on the 31st of January 2020. Washington State RCW and WAC requires each county in the state to have an MPD, and the duties for those MPDs include performing the MPD duties prescribed by the state of Washington, develop and implement pre-hospital medical protocols for the 600 paramedics and EMTs in Thurston County, oversee the QA/QI program, approve EMT initial and recurring training, and approve paramedic continuing medical education. Subject to your questions, we request the Board of County Commissioners authorize the Emergency Services Director to execute the contract amendment for Olympia Emergency Services Professional for the Medical Program Director for the period of February 1st, 2020 through January 31st, 2022. Additionally, authorize the Emergency Services Director to sign any subsequent amendments that do not increase the cost more than 10% or $40,000, whichever one is less.
Any questions?
Well, I just ask you, Ben, which outfit made a unanimous recommendation that this come before the Board of County Commissioners?
Which outfit?
Yeah, which group?
EMS Council.
Thank you.
Good answer.
I think he spelled that out.
I'm glad I could help you out.
Any questions or comments?
No.
And nor do I.
I would move to approve a professional services contract with Olympia Emergency Services for the Medical Program Director for the period of February 1, 2020 to January 31, 2022, with an annual cost of $129,780, and authorize the Director of Emergency Services to sign future amendments not to exceed 10% of the original contract.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve a professional services contract with Olympia Emergency Services. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6, Public Health and Social Services, Arcora Foundation Grant Agreement. And we have our Director of Public Health, Shelley Slaughter.
Good evening, Commissioners. As part of a statewide effort to address the shared goal of improving health in our region with a focus on oral health, we are very grateful for the Arcora Foundation and Choice Regional Health Network, who launched the Thurston Oral Health Network in 2018. The Thurston Oral Health Network includes 7 anchor strategies, 2 of which our department, Thurston County Public Health and Social Services, has been identified to lead. The first is school-based dental sealants, and the second is community education. The Thurston Oral Health Network aims to reduce oral health disparities in Thurston County by increasing access to services that improve health outcomes to school-aged children. Tonight, I'm here to request that you approve me to sign an amendment to our Arcora Foundation grant agreement, which will extend the period of performance from the initial date of December 20th, 2019 to June 30th of 2020. This amendment carries forward a maximum of $9,000 of the original total agreement compensation that we received from the Arcora Foundation in the amount of $71,145 to support the oral health network, specifically the school sealant strategy, of which our department is coordinating to prevent oral disease and reduce health disparities amongst those school children that we will be serving with this program. This is a pilot project, and this amendment will allow us to partner with 6 schools here in Thurston County to provide no-cost dental sealants to kids to improve their long-term health. This project aligns with Thurston County Strategic Plan Initiative number 1, Improve Health Outcomes for All. Any questions?
Any comments? Questions?
No, I don't.
No, sir? Nor do I. Good thing.
I would move to approve the amendment to the Arcora Foundation grant agreement to extend the period of performance to June 30th, 2020, and to carry forward a maximum of $9,000 for the continued support of the Thurston Oral Health Network, and authorize the Public Health and Social Services Department Director to sign the amendment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, excuse me, to approve the Arcora Foundation grant agreement amendment. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Nope. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And next is the DSHS EJAS access agreement.
Yes, so the purpose of this agreement that we are requesting your approval tonight does not cost any money to Thurston County, nor is there any money that we receive either, but it is a very important agreement to support our maternal child health program. This agreement, number 1963-68129, is to provide the terms and conditions by which the Washington State Department of Social and Health Services will allow us limited access to the web-based Electronic Jobs Automated System, also known as EJAS. Our department, Public Health and Social Services, is subcontracted through the Department of Children, Youth, and Families to receive referrals via EJAS for home visiting services in our maternal child health program, specifically our Nurse Family Partnership Program. The information that we get from the system is used for the purposes of referrals, tracking, monitoring caseload, program policies, and client participation for those who are participating in the Work First program. Guidelines for the access, use, transmission, and disclosure of the data are provided to ensure the confidentiality of the data is protected in accordance with law. Our department shall receive electronic referrals via EJAS from DSHS and TANF Work First case managers to support these families, who will then connect them to receive home visiting services under the home visiting agreement that we have with the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. And this agreement is for the duration of November 1st, 2019 to October 31st, 2021, again with a $0 agreement amount. And this does align with Thurston County Strategic Plan Initiative number 1, Improve Health Outcomes for All. Any questions?
Or comments?
No, I don't. Thank you.
No. Me neither.
I'd make a motion to approve the Department of Social and Health Services Agreement, number 1963-68129, for for the period of November 1, 2019 through October 31st, 2021, to receive referrals via EJAS for home visiting services at no cost to the county, and authorize the Department of Public Health and Social Services Director to sign the agreement, as well as future amendments that do not change the duration more than 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the DSHS EJAS access agreement. Any further
No, sir.
discussion?
No.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you very much, Commissioners.
The final agenda item is number 7. It's the county manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. Mayor Pro Tem from the City of Yelm, Mr. Todd Stillwell, has been patiently waiting, and he would like to address the board related to this item. And also Kerry Hibden, our Parks Manager, sitting back there. He also would like to give you a little context of this proposal before you.
Great.
Commissioners, I know that this is my first official duty as Mayor Pro Tem, so I'm here. Usually I know Mayor Foster starts with a joke, probably wouldn't be appropriate, and my dad jokes get really old, so I'll save you that. But some of the quick points that I wanted to make tonight, Yelm's planned this trail since we purchased it in the late 1990s. It's been part of the regional trails plan since that time. It's been identified in our 6-year transportation program and regional STIP. We've applied for design money in 2018, but it was denied. And currently, we're going through the process to abandon the rail line and retain the trail rights in the corridor. And to also go off Mr. Levine, I've seen him more than my wife, I think, this last 2 weeks. But it would be nice to have more reasons for people to use that trail, and it benefits all of us, obviously, from here to Yelm to Tenino and Roy, hopefully. And yeah, wheels with wallets or wallets with wheels, that sounds pretty cool. We could use that. That's all I have. Any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
No, Kerry.
Carrie's coming up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, we've heard a lot about the trail so far tonight, so I'll keep my comments relatively brief. But yeah, the city of Yelm's asking Thurston County for its support in the implementation of the Yelm Prairie Line Trail. The trail connection and extension will connect the city of Yelm with the city of Roy in Pierce County. It will also serve, though, as a key regional link between Thurston and Pierce County. It's a potential cross-state trail, so these things are starting to network together exactly as we had planned all this time. It will connect with the existing Yelm-Tenino Trail, which by extension, again, will connect it with the entire Thurston County Trail network, of which we have 36 miles developed. This connection will add an economic benefit through tourism, a safe and inviting alternative for transportation, as well as a recreational trail for residents and the visitors to our region. And it's a great thing. Again, we've heard a lot about it tonight, but this is really, I think, a great thing for our community, Pierce County, and all the visitors of our whole region.
Any questions? Kerry?
No, we've talked about this quite a bit.
Kerry,
Looking forward to doing it.
It was presented to us, and I think I've actually forgotten some of the details of where we're at. I mean, what is it that what stage are we at? When can we're going to hopefully approve a resolution, and then what's the next steps?
That's right. Well, I'd probably let the city of Yelm speak to that as to their time frame, because again, it is owned and going to be developed by the city of Yelm. So what we're asking here tonight is to give them support through a resolution that we're in support. And again, I have a lot of different information here, but the county's comp plan suggests that the trail networks for transportation and recreation are something that we feel are a good thing for the county. So as far as next steps and timeframes, Commissioner, I would turn it over to the city of Yelm.
Welcome back up to the...
Larry?
I'll try to defer to Mr. Levine.
All right.
Get the spearhead of this.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kerry.
He's got to get home to his wife, I guess. So in terms of next steps, Commissioners, you can think of the trail in 3 parts, or 3 phases. The first phase from Yelm Avenue West to what's called the Centralia Canal, a hydropower canal in the Yelm area, that is complete and has been complete for many years. The second phase goes from that canal to and arguably across the Nisqually River. And the third phase is everything that's in Pierce County to get us into downtown Roy. So where we're at currently is that the City of Yelm is applying for a grant from the Recreation and Conservation Office for phase 2 of the trail, so that it extends it from Yelm Avenue West, past the canal and across the river to Pierce County. So, as an additional part of that information, currently Pierce County is updating their long range, their 10-year parks plan. And we are working hard in Pierce County to elevate this project so that timing-wise it works out should Yelm prevail in their grant application at RCO. And we are working hard to get letters of support from all of our coalition to help ensure success this time. Does that answer your question?
It does, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Levine.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, you may not have started with a joke, but you got some really cool socks.
Okay.
All right, is there a motion?
Yes. I move to approve a resolution supporting the successful implementation of the Yelm Prairie Line Trail.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve a resolution supporting the Yelm Prairie Line Trail. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Nope. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay. All of that passes, thank you. And now, commissioners report in on their last week's assignments. Go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
Okay. I'm going to keep this relatively short, but affordable housing is a big issue, and it's not just a big issue here, it's a big issue everywhere. And we're right around 30% of the cost of housing is the government regulatory process, permitting, what you want to call it, but I call it interference, I guess. And I really think if we're going to do something about affordable housing, we have to do more than talk about it. So I've been talking with disabled veterans groups, nonprofits and such, and I would like to see the possibility of us, like I say, doing more than talk about it, and that's going to be reduce or eliminate certain fees and costs that government puts on top of every residence that's built in this county. And it's getting out of control, and if we don't do something, we'll never have affordable housing for anybody other than those that are doing quite well in life. And everybody is not in that category. So that's been the bulk of my past week is spent in that area. I'll just let it go at that.
Well, I serve Thurston County on 14 different interjurisdictional boards, and if you want to see that list, it's on the website for the county, and you can see what I'm involved in there. I use this time to report on things above and beyond those assignments that I might have engaged in. We had, I think, 2-week period because we didn't have a meeting last week, and I spent time down in Grand Mound touring our wastewater treatment plant there. With our staff down there. Kevin and Vern showed me around and talked about the need for planning to expand and increase capacity there. Went to a presentation on the Chehalis River Flood Retention Facility proposal, which is very interesting. Spent time with our Solid Waste Advisory Committee members one by one. I'm trying to get up to speed on solid waste important issues and decisions that will be coming to the county this upcoming months. Attended along with Commissioner Edwards, a Veterans Advisory Board listening session where we heard from different members of the veterans community about where the gaps are. Trying to inform those folks about what services there are and then listen back as to where there are gaps, and that was a very interesting session. And then a really great award ceremony put on by the Sheriff's Office. It was a real grab bag of interesting pieces of the program included acknowledging law enforcement officers who are also veterans and getting the Quilt of Valor, I think it's called, Quilt of Honor, Quilt of Valor. A swearing in of new officers, a retirement ceremony for some longtime search and rescue volunteers, a Deputy of the Year award to Deputy Kemke of the Sheriff's Office, and then a special award to a veterinarian in the community that provides free of charge all the care of our canine unit dogs. So that was just a really cool ceremony top to bottom, and that was the gist of my 2 weeks.
And
oh, I'm sorry. One more thing I meant to. I've been carrying this around. I serve on the Thurston Regional Planning Council. They are doing a survey, regional transportation plan, looking at our community's transportation needs over the next 25 years and how you would like the community to go about meeting them. Anyone can go online to trpc.org/RTP. This survey is going to be going, they don't give a date range here, but we just checked it today. It's still active. So go on and give your opinion. This will go into our planning that we're going to be engaging in over the spring. So thank you.
I did not do a whole lot of county work last week. On January the 20th, Monday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I did attend at SPSCC, the Martin Luther King event and banquet, which was very well attended, and in the Minart Center, and a beautiful dinner and presentation afterward in the Minart Center. It was wonderful. And then left the state and attended what I hope to be the final of 3 family funerals done and dusted, no pun intended, but dusted. So I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of things and get my feet wet, especially with the legislation, the ledge session now in progress. So with that, I turn to the county manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. Let me walk you through your combined schedule for the upcoming week. The appointments, as part of my report, will be where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. Starting tomorrow, Wednesday, January 29th, you have been invited to participate at 7 in the morning to the Olympia Kiwanis Caring for Kids breakfast. That is going to be held at the Conference Center, St. Mary's University, located 5300 Pacific Avenue in Lacey. At 1:30 in the afternoon, Commissioner Hutchins and Commissioner Minzer will have the governing board of the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization, and that is going to be held on 612 Woodland Square Loop, Suite 401 in Lacey, Washington. Thursday, January 30th at 9 in the morning, you have a hold for a work session. Nothing has been scheduled. Most likely that will be canceled. At 10, Thursday, January 30th, you have a briefing related to the Historic Commission recommendations for heritage block grant applications. And at 11 in the morning on Thursday, January 30th, you have also been invited to participate on the big brunch for the Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And that will be located at the St. Martin's Pavilion, again at 5300 Pacific Avenue, Southeast Lacey. At 1 in the afternoon, January 30th, you will have the first of many budget work sessions. And at 2 in the afternoon, you have been invited to participate on the DUI drug court graduation, which is going to be located on Building 2, Room 102 at the courthouse. Friday, January 31st, you have your first of the year day-long planning session. That will be from 9 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon, is a working lunch included. And that will be located at the Tilly campus, Rainier Room, 9601 Tilly Road South, Suite C in Olympia. An agenda, you reviewed the agenda of that today. There's some modifications, and the final agenda will be posted 24 hours in advance. Moving on to next week, nothing on your combined schedule on Monday, February the 3rd. Tuesday, February the 4th, you will convene on room 280, the courthouse. Well, you will be reviewing the agenda for that afternoon Board of County Commissioners meeting, which begins at 2 in the afternoon. That's all I have.
Anything for the county manager?
No, sir.
Anything?
No.
Before we sign off, I would like to thank the Washington Farm Bureau for allowing us to use their building this evening. It was very kind of them to do that. it was nice being out in the community. So with that, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.